think it's another brief moment in time when we get to see the change of the tides. The shifted, twisted bit technology showcasing the little bits of safety, while the quick trips are surely randomly sparking the photons around me. Let the light flow from the heat, yo. When the photons ignite, highlighting, yo, then you know it's that time when we force a change in tides. A little bit lined with something in us. It's almost like we something else, autonomous, or maybe perhaps it's that missing piece you needin'. Perhaps it's that simple message you searching. Perhaps it's just a different time framing us for the next adventure in the mainframe. Getting excited, so are the photons. Don't laminate so we can change the coupon. Let me raise the hash rate, submit the coupon fake, and reduce the rate while we mine our major bags. Crypto technology like cryptographic money will hashing your life into a set of QRs. It doesn't matter cause it's time for 3D changes perspectives. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome everybody to the show. So I'm 3D, and today we're going to hopefully, well, I know we're going to look at a perspective, but we're going to see, is it FUD or based? So there's almost always a varying perspectives about basically everything, right? So especially like constructs and other stuff like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. So today I want to kind of look at a perspective of Bitcoin or BTC, and we are going to ask the question like, is it FUD or is it based? But however, unlike giving a single rating of the perspective, these are quite large perspectives. So we're going to rate the various sections within it as FUD or based. So that's kind of the spin there. Is it's not going to be about the whole thing, it's going to be about the sections. Because sometimes there, in every FUD, there exists a little base, and a little bit of base, it's a little bit everywhere, right? So obviously, we got to work out the two differences. So, all right, well, okay, I want to appreciate everybody for showing up already. It's early in the morning, or near the afternoon, and I want to start and thank today's sponsorships and partnerships. So I want to thank the organizers for teaming up with Bitcoin Live Digital Broadcasting DB, because Bitcoin Live DB and the organized is a powerhouse combo. I see new heights for them, for both organizations. And if you haven't checked out any of the organized early morning broadcasts, first stacks and other topics, well then you're missing out, because they've been taking off with every day, and you can find them pretty much anywhere you're watching this, like X, Twitter, all sorts of places. If you're watching it here, you probably can see it there. Unless you're watching this from, honestly, I think it's the only place where I go live that other people don't really do. But more people have been. So that's great, because we're going to get into the sponsorships. So I want to thank Shieldfolio for sponsoring today's episode from within a quantum bit, as well as the Bitcoin Live DB network. Now, if you haven't seen a Shieldfolio, well, they're like a little black book, but they're made from stone paper. So they're fade resistant, tear resistant, and even water resistant. So you know the info and secrets you store in your Shieldfolio will last and survive whatever you throw at it. I personally have a Shieldfolio, and I use it for website info, contacts, crypto keys, among other things. Inside these little black books, they are pocket sized and ready to be by your side, regardless of your adventure in real life or online. And I really do actually own one of these. I really do use it. They are actually really great. And they have other products on their store. So we have a QR on the screen right now, a big one and a small one. They're both the same QR. Go ahead and scan that. Get that tagged up in your phone or something. Go ahead and take a screenshot. Do that. Do whatever you need to. Put that off to the side later. Use Bitcoin Live 20 when you go to there. Because basically it's going to take you to the website, right? And you're going to be able to get their Shieldfolio. You're going to be able to get their other products using the same paper. It's really awesome. And you're going to use the code Bitcoin Live 20. Get 20% off your purchase today. Because, like, these are, like, a really easy, quick way to manage your, like I said, website, crypto keys, personal information, all sorts of stuff. And it's because it's water resistant, because it's fade resistant, because it's tear resistant, it really is going to last you quite a bit. It might get folded up and bent up and beat up and dented. That is kind of the point, right? So I really do enjoy Showfolio. We're going to go ahead and roll in with the roll-ins before we roll in any further. Thank you, Showfolio, for sponsoring today's episode. And again, the entire Bitcoin Live DB network. All right, so now we're here. We're in. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of the ad. All right. So basically, wherever you're watching, wherever you're viewing, there should be, or maybe, or could be a chat window somewhere. If you type into that, it will show up here, unless you're on Odyssey. That's the only place I can't really get it to show up. But everywhere else, you can say hello, and we will see it. Now, we're going to go into how we do the episode, in case you haven't been here before. So you're going to see this whole little rigmarole. Let's go into the very first thing. So basically, we just gave you a preview of today's episode. All right? Now, here's how we actually roll down. Everywhere we go, you're going to... Oop, that is not what you're going to see. You're going to see a little pop-up. I clicked the wrong button. And that little pop-up is exactly where we're at. We're right here. For example, right now we're on YouTube. You can see my little sides. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's get that back up. This is Deorganized Media. I was just talking about them, right? And I just want to point out, Deorganized Media, they go live almost every single day. Bitcoin, stacking stats, all sorts of things. They are your hookup for what's digitally popping online. These are the guys we were talking about earlier. Awesome people. All right, so you'll be able to scan this. Come back here at any point in time. You can scan it, take a screenshot. Doesn't really matter. You have access to it now that it's on the screen, right? Perfect. So that's how we're going to do the entire episode. So let's go to the very first thing. Well, we give a free pre-search query to everybody, every episode. So today's free pre-search query is, when did Mt. Gox begin transacting Bitcoin? Like always, I did not use this query in today's episode research, but that doesn't mean we won't have overlapping links. Basically, if anything about today's episode actually interests you, well, then this free research query will actually help you find more information about this type of stuff. Now, this is kind of like the beginning intro for a lot of people with what we're going to be talking about today, which I guess you can tell is going to be a lot of history. So just replay after the show, scan the QR, or take a screenshot with your phone so you can use a OCR or your favorite AI to go ahead and let you jump into that next rabbit hole. Okay, so it says here we have catch-up deets. Let me get you guys caught up, all right? Because catching you up with the deets is my job, I think, kind of. All right, so everyone may have an opinion on Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if they use it or not, and that's absolutely fine. So one of the reasons why some of us in like cryptocurrency space, basically we always have this yeah or nah perspective or viewpoint. And it's because information itself is an attack vector. So if like 1,000 people online were all to say the exact same thing or about the same thing, it would become searchable. Now, if any perspective becomes searchable, it may trend. And if a perspective trends, it may be spoken about in mass media. Now, if something is spoken about in mass media, even if untrue, it may become self-fulfilling prophecies. So by fighting data with data, you can actually sway in which way the mass media may potentially talk about that anything. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going to fight data with data. We're going to go into the perspective. We're going to go into the person. We're going to go into some history. We're going to go into even the history of Bitcoin. But I think that's kind of the point. All right. So we're going to go back into it. Whoop, and we're in. So as you see, we already have something up on screen for you. This is Isabella. She put out an article, and that's what we're going to look at, right? She also gave us a quick thread thing, so we're actually going to look at that first. But so, like last time, we looked at whom the perspective came from, so that's what we're doing right now. We're going to look at whom this perspective comes from. Isa doesn't have actually much in her bio, which may be a good thing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So it says the hover over objects in the bio, just so you know what it says. All right, so we have this, Pizza Isle. So building a Bitcoin circular economy in the Isles Maroons. I don't know, actually. I can't actually say that, but it's down in Mexico. Through education, merchant adoption, and creating jobs. opportunities. Sorry, I'm having some hiccups. So, fix the money, fix the aisle. Okay, cool. I actually know a lot of people who follow this. I actually know a lot of people who follow this lady. Like, there's a lot of like mutuals in this case, right? So the next thing is get based. You can see I know a lot of people who follow. I actually know more people who follow get based than BC aisle. So, um, and then I know more people who follow this lady than get based. So, but get based is awakening the sovereign individual through fearless storytelling and make more killer guides that we leave customers 100% satisfied. So, cool. It's like a podcast or something, right? Awesome. So, it's some form of storytelling and it's cool. Awesome. I'm not seeing anything negative, really. I just see, basically, it looks like she's got a business, a booming business of some kind. It might be some form of marketing or something, right? It might just be a podcast. And then we can see this other business, which is a much bigger thing. But we don't really know what it is yet, right? And then she has a YouTube account. Perfect. So she has a way to get out to people, things like that. And she has a fundraiser system, or she's raising funds. We'll get into that. So it says here, okay. So we see they have like a business with Bitcoin. We see they write narratives or stories. But basically, that could be a way of framing narratives through stories. And I didn't actually like go review the Get Based TV thing. It like this right here. It isn't as important, I think. It just kind of shows that this person is like a CEO perspective, basically. And they're using Bitcoin for profit, or, I mean, my bad, I should rephrase that. They're using Bitcoin to profit, and they're to profit from, but not from, like, trading, you know what I mean? Like, from the use of Bitcoin. And I have to say, from all this, like, I pretty much just expect it to, I'm expecting them to sell me something. You know, I'm expecting to be sold something at the end of this conversation. So maybe even an influential type article, maybe if we're lucky. But that's about what her profile bio says. Now, keep in mind, I wrote this down before I read even what the thing she wrote was about. Like, I do this every time I get the topic, and then before I go look at it, I go find out who wrote it and whatever. I go check them out. So that's kind of the method. That's kind of, well, the method that I have set up. So I always try to give you guys like a very, objective, like, I don't know nothing about this or this person yet. I don't know nothing about what I'm about to read yet. Here's what I think about the person. And that's just what their bio says. Because you see, there's nothing there. That's not always a bad thing. So it says, look at the pinned tweet. Oh, that's right. That's what we were supposed to do last time. So we see here she has a video. Do this now. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Don't do no IRS, Bitcoin. Okay, so guys, the IRS has introduced a new Bitcoin rule. This could directly impact your Bitcoin 2025 tax filings if you're unaware of these changes. Okay, so influential. See, okay, makes more sense of where I probably got the influential part from, like because of the pinned tweet. Okay, cool, fine, that's great. All right, now let's get into this stuff up here, the geyser thing. Okay, let's do that. Sorry, I forget that it jumps past these little point thingies. So this is the fundraiser project. So this is the link that was in her bio, and I am a bit confused by this. I mean, like, I get you can have like donations for anything nowadays, but this is someone community seed raising funds to start a Bitcoin centric business, or a business that may just accept Bitcoin as its selling trope. I'm not too sure. And it doesn't really matter. Like that point doesn't matter. I just don't know what's going on, right? And I'm not sure, like, but when I was doing the research, the launch date is aligned with this episode. Yeah, I don't remember if it's a day or two before this, or a day or two after this, or today. But keep that in mind. I wrote everything I wrote before this due date happened, or the day that this business that she's trying to build was open. It may be open today. I'm not sure. Okay, so it says to scroll down. So basically, she's explaining. Okay, says my new home. This is her new home, and she says she's moving there, and she says she did move there. I'm not too sure if she is living there yet. Um, and it says, she's got a bunch of stuff she's done so far. It's great. You can see she's got more videos and information. Great, more data. Great, um, influential postings within her thing. Maybe that's just like showing her, or like kind of like some people are like, oh, this is my proof that I know I'm talking about type stuff. That might be what that is. Um, Welcome to the aisle. We see products. Okay, so this was one of the other things we got set up. So let's go ahead, go over to products. Wait, products. Okay, so here are the products. We see there's 5 total, and I do have notes on everything. So sometimes I'm just talking off the fly. Sometimes I'm looking at my notes. I'm about to look at my notes. So it says these products are rewards you can donate directly for or to. This is actually really neat, especially since the bulk of donations are actually directly to help someone with Bitcoin education, which I absolutely think that's awesome. I see adopt a student that might help. They might have helped a person in need. This one right over here where my QR is, chat is up. I gotta go back to there. So that adopt a student might have actually been really awesome. It looks like it might have gone to a person or family in need with their Bitcoin. Looks like they may have helped, like I said, small family with these tools and lessons to get, because it's a lot of people got to be taught this stuff as hard as it is. So that's good though. Come volunteer at Bitcoin Isle. I personally, yeah, this one down here. Like I personally, have never paid money to volunteer somewhere. I mean, I volunteer all the time, by the way. And to be honest, if I had like the wealth and the ability to get to go over or whatever, I probably would be begging my wife to let me sign up to do this. Seems like it'd be like kind of like a neat vacation thing, because like it's kind of like got the sites right, and then you have some time afterwards, right, and then during the day you stay busy. So, and then it's all Bitcoin related. For me, that's perfect, right? So it is still a bit odd though, paying to volunteer, but it says it covers everything other like it covers everything other than the flight, right? And so, oh, and then your passport. So let's be honest, it really is more like a paid vacation type of thing, and that's still pretty cool. And the price actually is reasonable on this one, like not bad, yeah. Um, so I am shocked no one's actually taken up on the software. So then they have the tuk that's been sold. It's got all its all in all and stuff. It's like really heartwarming. It's really cool. Um, so turns out like everything, we're gonna have to see how everything turns out and develops, right? Everything does happen if it all happens as planned or whatever, because like nothing's been delivered yet. That's the first thing I noticed. Nothing's been delivered yet, and then I noticed like, oh, okay, so they weren't even like the thing isn't even open yet, and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. But so that's an important point. We still have to see how this unfolds. Um, all right, but this is just let's get into her perspective now. Okay, so we know about her. We know about she's influential and she's selling stuff. Okay, cool. That's it. That's all. Anyway, that's all that is. All right. So, this was basically my introduction to. I think I was like seeing her before in the past with my old handle, radioactive 3D and stuff. But I think this is probably like my very first introduction to Izza. So, and it's basically just a huge thread, which is also an article, but we're gonna go through this thread first. Okay, so it starts off. Bitcoin mining has a dark secret. Everyone sees machines running 24/7, securing the network. Actually, I'm gonna zoom in. This is hey. But when I dug into how it actually works, I realized Bitcoin is being infiltrated by the same virus that killed big tech. When mining was pure, 2009, 2010, no exchanges. See, it's accidentally clicked that. No exchanges, Coinbase fees, or middlemen for that matter. Only one way to get Bitcoin: mine it yourself. Every 10 minutes, a new block appeared. Send it, find it first, earn 50 coins. This was pure, untraceable sovereign Bitcoin. Hold on. My thing even tells me do not respond to this yet. I'm gonna hold my tongue for a second. Okay. 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 When did Bitcoin Coinbase fees first appear in the Bitcoin code? Oh, it's always been there. Oh, it's always been there. What? I've always been told that you Bitcoin didn't have Coinbase fees and it was always free. No, it was like so. Yeah, Coinbase fees has always been there. There are even to this day there are still little neat tricks you can do to get free transactions because there are it's always like free transactions just was a thing for the longest time because with that we there wasn't a whole lot of demand and it was always known as demand is that you'll have to pay fees eventually. But it's technically a volunteer thing, but it is there. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next one. Oh, sit down. Yes. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's kind of yeah. What was the date of the first Bitcoin online Bitcoin exchange? March 17, 2010, BitcoinMarket.com. And if you noticed, we asked about Mt. Gox earlier, and it was actually after this date. It's still in 2010. So, okay, I gotta go to the next one. Okay. Oh, look at those. Okay. Bitcoin History Part 6, Bitcoin.com. Or news.bitcoin.com, actually. The first Bitcoin exchange. Aside from mining, the only way to obtain Bitcoin in the very early days was by trading it on forums or IRC. Oh, wait, people traded in IRC. Yeah, people don't, well, unless you were there, you didn't actually know that. Most people didn't know that. This arrangement relied on the other party fulfilling their side of the deal. And since there were a few escrow services back then, Bitcoin didn't have to wait long for a dedicated exchange. Thankfully, the first exchange went live March 2010. Okay. Oh, can I say something? Let me see. Read starter message. Okay, so that didn't actually take long to disprove. Wow. Already starting off incorrect. You could say that that it's skewed. I could say her statement is skewed. Sure. Either way, like I'm saying my statement could be skewed. What I'm about to say, or his statement could be skewed. Sure. Either way, she's incorrect. The tweet says one thing while history says the other. So we're gonna go back to the tweet. In 2009 to 2010, no exchanges, or Coinbase fees, or middlemen. But actually, we just saw there were exchanges in 2010 because of middleman type situations or no middleman type situations where the other person just grabs and runs. And there were always Coinbase fees. So all of this is incorrect. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take you back on a little journey with Bitcoin. Just a little one. Just a tiny little one. All right. We're going to go through just a little bit of this. And we're just going to basically look at the data. We can see here's the very first Bitcoin block, Satoshi, notable block. Here's the information in the block. Bitcoin Genesis. Read more. Total Bitcoin spent in here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There's even more there. Look at all those data. You guys know. Okay, so we're going to look at this. Okay, we're just going to do this for a little bit. Just hold up with me just for a little bit. We're going to look at the data. Oh, wow. The very first Coinbase. Or the very first Bitcoin block said Coinbase. Because I was reading Coinbase message at the same time. My bad. Who got it? We don't know. We don't even know if this is Satoshi. And that's something that like a lot of people don't even realize. We don't even know if this is Satoshi. Obviously, if we go to the previous block, Satoshi knows how to handle his header to say that it's him. Alright? There's Satoshi. So, oh, block 2. Okay. Block 3. Block 4. Block 5. Oh. Unknown miner mined a block with this message. What a great message. But you're about to see something. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Plus sign, comma. Satoshi commented 4 to the Coinbase. Wow. On the 9th Bitcoin block. So, there is no proof to say that Satoshi mined or didn't mine the previous blocks. We used to believe Satoshi mined 7 and 8. Block 7 and block 8. So, because block 9, we have proof it is him. And I say him, I mean them. We have proof it is the Satoshi miner. Because it could be more than one miner. I didn't click on it. Could be all sorts of things. So we can still see no one is transferring money yet. And if we keep going, we see now an unknown got 6. At the time, while this was going on, if you were in a specific IRC chat, you would have actually saw people saying, well, I'm going to try to comment, and they say something. And Satoshi, one of the Satoshis said, oh, I'm going to just comment a number. And then someone else said, well, I'm going to comment 6. 6 was the very next block that got made. And it was kind of creepy. See, like Bitcoin block 9, okay, January 9 at 3:54 a.m., right? January 9, 4:05 a.m. Alright, so 11 minutes later, right? Okay. Block 10, block 11. What was block 10? 6, right? So block 11 is a semicolon. Obviously, that caught the end of a message. Nothing. Have we seen any transaction in chain yet? No. We haven't even seen a transaction yet. Like, people haven't even started transacting. But basically, people are playing with the blockchain. This is direct proof that even the people who invented the system didn't fully understand everything that was going on. We were playing and having fun, trying to figure out. I know some of these blocks are, miners mining while everyone else is sleeping. And we'll have to do this for a while. I mean, we're still in, like, the first couple of days of Bitcoin. We're just now starting to get letters. So, I have a thing telling me not to play with this too long. I think that's enough. I think that just kind of basically proves my point, right? They were still learning what the fuck was going on. And there were potentially, immediately, additional players in the chain. And in the mining and all that. As soon as it started. Give you this again. So there were Coinbase fees. And wait, my bad. My thing here is like asking, was there Coinbase fees in 2009, 2010 for Bitcoin? Yes. Was there exchanges in 2009, 2010 for Bitcoin? Well, in 2010, yes. Are those old transactions traceable? Well, actually, yes. If I would have sat there long enough and got to an actual transaction, yes, they are traceable. So her first set of claims are FUD. So far. I don't think I need to give you this, but there you go. Okay, so we're just going to basically keep going, and we're going to loop through to her next message, right? So if we go back up, see, okay, this last message, we can flip this message. Okay. So, starting back at the very next week. Well, this is, let me read. No, it tells me to read later. Oh my gosh, okay, hold on. Let me read my notes. so I don't mess up what I need to say. This is nonsense wrapped in truths. Yes, Bitcoin mining can be solving hard maths, but have you actually looked at the math Bitcoin miners actually perform to get to the guessing number? Sure, there have been miners that have tried the +1 to the last number, but hashing tries all those numbers quite quickly. So then we tried like non, non-winning numbers or whatever, or non-winning numbers. Like we tried the non-winning numbers again or whatever, and they still didn't win. So it's like the things she's saying as mining isn't just because it's hard truths. We can mine without that, sure. You can just guess and hope for the reward. But that's why hashing is called security. Many people are doing the same guessing, so to speak. And by using the same or similar maths for the same machines to create that guessing number, the faster machine can guess, the more times they can submit in hopes for that reward. That's how mining is security. This is essentially the stemming off the same main argument point we saw last episode of 3D changes perspectives, when a different person claimed outright hashing isn't security to stem a majority of their argument. So we're going to continue on. I'm going to actually read the tweet. We're going to read more than one tweet. But let's read it. So, but as the network grew, mining stopped being a game of luck and started looking like business. It's always been built around the ideal of it could be a business. Keep that in mind. That's even in the white paper. And I say that it's in the white paper. There's points of the mining couldn't be profitable, something like that. And it can be used to create mining farms. Or I think that was mentioned in there too. So here's the truth: Bitcoin mining isn't solving hard math problems. Let me give this idea the truth. It's unless you look at the math they're actually using to mine, you don't know if it's hard, do you? It's a guessing game. So a computer does not just randomly come up with a number. It does some kind of math to get to that number, even when it's guessing. So think of a glowing block in the sky with a secret number inside. That is not a good way to look at Bitcoin. Guess right, 50 Bitcoin. Wrong, nothing. Actually, I would look at it like, imagine you're in school at you and a shitload of other people are in a giant ass building, right? But you're not all in the same room. You're all in different rooms, okay? And maybe there's only an X number of you in that room. But you can actually see through the window another set of people in another room. Like, you never see the outside. It's like back rooms of desks and people in those desks with a magic piece of paper and a magic fucking pencil that you just write anything on that paper. And then when you stop, it immediately determines if you won or not. You either get set free and go back home, or you stuck there, keep writing. That's actually more like mining. You never know if you're going to win. You never know what's going to happen. You can see everything else that's going on. You guys can get up and read each other's notes. You guys can talk. You can walk into different rooms. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can't get out. How do you get out? Sit in your fucking desk, write on that piece of paper, and hope you write the right thing. Good luck. That's actually how mining works. Like, these Bitcoin miners are looking at nothing. They are not, we humans give them thing. We go, well, here's some math. And then it goes, oh, math, okay, and does the math. And then it submits the math. And then we wait, right? But we don't wait. No, why wait? If we won, we would have just get paid, so it don't matter. So we don't wait. We just keep doing it and keep doing it. And that's kind of the point. Once you guys start talking, you realize in this room, this building and stuff, you're like, wait a minute. The more I write, if I just write anything, that's a submission, right? And you just make a mark. Oh, it's a submission. It's a mark. Submission. 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 And then you just try to get as many submissions as fast as possible, and as long as it's not the exact same submission. That's the ideal. Because the more times you submit, the more chances you have to go home. Think about that. You're in a room, you can never leave. You're in a building, you can never leave. There's no exit, there's no outside. The only thing you can do is sit down and just put as many marks as many times on this piece of paper in a way to where it submits immediately after. That's actually mining. That's why it's a business. That's what makes it a business. Everybody wants to get the fuck out. Eventually, you're going to get a bunch of people all like poking at the same piece of paper and hoping that they all just disappear or one of them just disappears, or because that's how mining really works. No one isn't really given anything. The consensus determines that. Okay. And so she's saying basically what she described as solo mining. One player, one chance. Then your neighbors says, well, what if we guess together and split the prize? That's what I was saying when you get a bunch of people on one piece of paper poking all at the same time, right? And then suddenly you're guessing twice as fast. More miners, more power, more predictable rewards. That's the truth behind mining pools, and it worked until it didn't. Well, that's not true either. Like, I can just get more miners. And when I say that, there's two sides to that. First side, everyone thinks about. I get more miners, I put it onto my account gets more hash rate, I'm submitting more times per second. There's another way to do this. You get more miners, you put them on a completely different account, and you fight yourself to win. Oh, that's still solo mining. Oh, but now I could actually make a pool of just my miners, and I can solo pool mine every chance I get. Now I am actually doubling my chances. See, like, that's the actual way to double your chances. You don't double your chances by just mining twice as much, twice as fast, twice as much hash. You actually get more chances by having miners of your miners competing with your miners to get that reward, and all of your miners go to a pool, but because you're not a major entity, you don't actually want people to join up, you don't give your pool a name. You give it a thing called unknown by not naming it. You just don't name it, therefore it goes to the protocol base of unknown. And then it becomes an unknown pool. Oh, okay. That's pool mining. So we can see this is more fun. Solo mining is not one machine, unlimited chance. It's it's one player, one chance. Okay? But code wise, because like what she's saying here, one player, one chance, right? That's what she said, right? But code wise and paper wise is you plan around that because you can't really make statements of proof backing other things. You can make a statement of proof backing this. Okay? Because the reality is it's one person, unlimited chance. One machine, unlimited chance. Those are not the same. One person, unlimited chance is not the same as one machine, unlimited chance. And so what this lady is actually trying to get at is one miner, one paymenter. That's solo mining. One miner, one paymenter. Okay? And pool mining is many miners, batch paymenter. It's still one paymenter. Right? Well, some people would say it's not. It's actually paying a bunch of people. But normally it will be one miner, it will be one block found. The pool gets paid through one address being paid, which then that normally gets determined later. You know, we have a protocol or a system or a computer or some other something else or some person, however your pool handles it. Yeah. Okay. I just now realized I don't think I've given you the QR for a lot of these. I mean, it's the same thread. Right? I need to give it to you. So, physical centralization. What used to feel like a lottery became predictable, a business model. Like the whole thing is still not very predictable. It doesn't, like right now we average under 10 minutes. Anyways, mining Bitcoin for less than it costs in electricity and hardware, you basically have a money printer. What? Sure. So garages, warehouses, miners, corporations, Bitcoin hobby, industry, arms race. Okay, the last part of that doesn't even make sense. I think she's just making, I don't know, references to something. Um, but it's not clear. Okay, so Bitcoin hash rate drops 12% in the worst drawdown since China mining ban. Now, I have notes on here. I need to read the notes first. So, China banned mining in 2021. There's a 12% increase now. But you'll see the AI and a bunch of other people say actually it's up to 50%. Because, like, Bitcoin had a natural difficulty adjustment, like, right around the same time there was a hash rate decrease from the China ban. But now, where we're sitting at when this article was written in 2026, in January, it's only 12%. Now, by now, I mean, it's been days later, it might have changed some. And even with that 50% decrease in mining hash rate over a year-long or shorter period, Bitcoin still held. Strange. If it was centralized, then Bitcoin would have had a greater, like 73%, hash rate dip to be centralized. Maybe people forgot what centralized actually means. In half the network, hash rate dips. So half the network's hash rate dips. The pools are fine. The network was fine. And it's almost as if Bitcoin is over-secured right now. So 50% decrease in mining still didn't hurt Bitcoin. Let's review that dip. Boom. So we're looking, when is this? 2022. So, yeah. So this is when China got banned mining. So we saw it had a really top tip and just dropped. And we see the actual mining is the blue line. So it's this tiny little line way down here. I'm going to try to zoom in. That did not work out. Yeah, so 2024 is right up in there, and still not. Yeah, okay, so there it is. This thing does not like me. Sorry, I have a trackpad that I have to use, and it like here's me using this scroll thing. It doesn't. Stupid stuff. Technology not working with me. Yeah, so this blue line way down here is this hash rate dip, and it really was 50%. That black line is the market value. So we see the market value was hugely different, right? And so a lot of people would call this a correction. But the mining ban happened right around the time that a price correction was happening. So that means there was already a dip in hash rate when the China ban happened. So the actual China ban happened, like there's a big tip with this blue line, and it went down. That's when the China ban happened. So when it was already partly down, so then it just dipped. Like it was already dipping back up as like recovery, and then it just dipped again. So it's got like a tiny little dip after a big dip. That tiny little dip, that's when we see the China ban. That's when it drops immediately fast, and people are like, oh, look, proof. And if you look from there, that's less than 50%. It's like 33% or something like that. It's still huge. But it does recover naturally. And I say naturally meaning it's a slow, natural recover. And if you look in the past, there are tons of times where this, quite large dips in the network hash rate has happened before. And they all correlate around price corrections. So there's a price correction, there's a hash rate correction. And often that shows sign of a major miner dropping out. And that's fine. Bitcoin system is designed where any miner can leave and comment anytime. Fine. That's how it's designed to do. Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot I had this piece of paper. So that's the actual mining dip that they're talking about. Here we're at now. So there we were at 181 ETH hash. and that was considered over the line that you have to be like secured against all the world's governments. Or I think, well, no, it might be, yeah, all the world's governments or any one government, one of those two. I don't know. Maybe it's like any one government. And then way up here, we're way over past both of those. Way over past. Okay, so. Okay, so. So it doesn't look like China ban had a multitude of effects. It was news that made a big difference, right? And some would say that her statement was basically a little bit of base inside with a little bit of fun. So it's fun and based sandwich. Also, just ignore the bounce back now that the fact that the hash rate is at a staggering higher price per second rate, and the price is having a hard time following that hash rate. Like it normally does, though. That's actually what normally happens. Price follows hash rate follows trend of the miners, not trend of the price. So now, if you're wondering, like, surely AI didn't switch Bitcoin miners over or anything, that couldn't explain that very recent hash dip, could it? No. Wait. Damn it. It does. Um, actually, yeah, it absolutely does. I had it up there the whole time so you guys could see that I was going to get to it. A lot of the biggest Bitcoin miners actually are pivoting to AI. And so on December 29th, 2025, this article highlighting that Bitcoin miners, like entrepreneur and medium to large scale miners, were switching to AI API for payment with their miner systems. This means that a ton of Bitcoin miners can also be used for other things, like GPU mining. Oh, GPUs can also play games too, by the way. Let's move on to next week. Yeah. And we're back here. So, um, what we. Let me just read this. Here's the twist. Make sure we all get that. Here's the twist. The real winners weren't the miners. They were the people building the machines. The ASICs are application-specific integrated circuits, chips, built for one purpose: mine Bitcoin. Actually, they just solve SHA-256 hashes. They literally just put stuff into a SHA-256. Like, I know that's not, they just solve the math. They don't actually put it in there. They just solve the math. So if you control the chips, you control the entire mining industry. That's what the lady is saying, right? All right. So what you are saying, the people that really profit off the gold rush wasn't the gold miners. It was the people who made the pickaxe and the wheelbarrow sellers. Oh, my bad, I said that was strange. It was the pickaxe and wheelbarrow sellers. That's weird. Why would you ever think that? Not like that's a true statement or anything, right? Oh, right. That is who benefited the most off of the gold rush. It was the landowners, the sellers of the services and things and goods to the miners, including pubs. Okay. Alright. But here's where it gets dark, apparently. Three companies dominate almost all Bitcoin ASIC production. Bitminer or Antminer does 80% from China. Blitzminer MicroBT does 13% from China. Avalon does 6% from Singapore. That's 93% one country. Almost all total. Well, guess what? ASIC isn't the only way to mine Bitcoin. And like I said earlier, people are learning. I Whoa, no, I didn't. It's in here. I guess I'm going to say it later. People are learning how to take these black box ASIC and how they work. They're figuring it out. They're learning how to repurpose these same chips that were actually manufactured and sold and profited by mining. But now they're being repurposed, sold again for another round of profit by mining. Um, yeah, you're gonna do another round of it. It's just like a bit of a circle. I had to make sure I read that right. It says, yeah, it's a bit of a circle of economy for the manufacturers. And manufacturers have needs too, right? They need to have circular functionality to help keep the demand met of your circular economy that you're trying to build around this Bitcoin network. And it does so when you read the next two tweets. Make sure I'm in the right spot. I'm in the right spot. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at this. There's more. These companies don't sell their chips to anyone, they lock them inside their own machines. But they're little black boxes. You can't inspect firmware, you can't verify what they're doing. You just have to trust them in a trustless system. This is actually something the open mining people are fighting all the time. It sales, let me do it again. This is scary. 2017, Bitmain was caught using ASIC boost, secret feature making their miners 20% more effective than everyone else's. And at the same time, they were fighting Bitcoin's SegWit upgrade, because it would have exposed their secret advantage. They're claiming. Right? So we're gonna look at this. I was foreshadowing, and I said it wrong, but I foreshadowed it. Ish. Someone actually took those little black box chippies and made them open source by learning how to control them. Oh no, how dare you, Bitcoin community, learn to hack the ASIC chips for your own good. No. Wait. Why would you be mad at this? Like, it's a rhetorical question. Don't actually answer that. There are people who are actually mad at the fact that people have done exactly what I just said. So one of the things on here, I can just scroll down. It actually says, like, right here. Okay, so Bitcoin BitX is a Bitcoin miner based on an open source design and a modern mining ASIC, offering efficiency and customization for users. The open source nature allows users to inspect, modify, enhance the hardware, software, and optimize the performance based on specific needs or mining environments. BitX is ideal for miners looking for greater control over their operations while contributing to the decentralization of the Bitcoin network. Oh, look at that. Really nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Open source miners united. Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. There are actually a bunch of these that are made from different people, to decentralize even the ASIC chips that are being made and manufactured even in China, even sometimes as old as 10 years ago. So not even always newer chips, while others are made from like old overstock sold as new that was never used, right? And they're just being repurposed still, right? Centralization everywhere, basically. So basically, the black box centralization hurting mining is FUD. Black box centralization is now only half truth, as many of those black boxes have actually been examined and figured out without sometimes with the actual chip maker's help. Yeah. Oh, guys, I wasn't supposed to read the ASIC boost at the time. Oopsie daisy. I read it. Yeah. And it just says, read this. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, not what we wanted. Can anyone use ASIC boost? Yes, anyone can use ASIC boost. It requires specific hardware and software modifications to actually implement it and use it effectively. Hmm. See, in the Open Bitcoin OpTech or OpenTech operation, now, the ASIC boost is a technique for specially constructing a Bitcoin block header in order to reduce 15% of the number of operations necessary to find the block. Only specific miners can even use it. Do not increase security. ASIC boost doesn't do more work. It just lets you cut out some of the work. some circling evidence supporting the claim of amp. Oh, okay. To boost or not to boost? That is the question. Okay. Here's ASIC boost. Here's the information on ASIC boost. Here's the actual data right here from bitcoinops.org. It is designed to give you about 50% boost. And the over ASIC boot requires manipulating the inversion field of a block header. This is clearly visible on the blockchain. Miners wishing to use over ASIC are recommended to use the version bits reverse for general purpose use by bit 320. So, well, I hate to be honest, this means that at the time of the block wars and stuff, like, you can just look on the chain and find out and figure out where those miners are. Because remember all that extra data we saw in those blocks? Like, there's a ton of data. Wow. Guess what? So there's also a covert ASIC boost though. This requires manipulating the part of the nickel root field in the block header. And this can be done undetectably, although native or naive implications often leave clues. So basically they're saying, like, it hasn't been done in a manner that we can prove that has been done in this manner. Like, okay. So basically, covert is not compatible with blocks that contain secondary commitments to their transactions, as this is a case with any block that contains a SegWit transaction. And that's actually what the lady's talking about. The lady means that this covert ASIC boost could not be used before SegWit. Cannot be used after SegWit. Okay? This produced controversy when it was discovered that a mining hardware manufacturer who strongly objected to the SegWit had secretly designed features into their ASICs to use covert ASIC boost, not make it or anything else. So there was someone already using covert ASIC boost. Why does that pop up when I'm working? So they were using covert ASIC boost, and we say that because it left clues. We could see it. Why? I don't care. Stop. I don't care. Okay. So ASIC boost speed up for mining production. And it just shows you here, it's really over. It only supports for an S9. But, so, okay, I got notes. Crazy, ASIC boost isn't just for that one company she claimed. Strange. I don't know. Oh, I don't think she actually been fully truthful about any tweet thus far, or any tweet thus far. Like, sure, they may have been using it, but it really just sets up your ASIC to reduce operations by action, so you don't have to do as many actions to relieve about 15% of the time. So, if I don't know, if you knew how to 100% properly set one up, like, because you are the manufacturer of the chip, then perhaps maybe you could get that extra 5% efficiency. So the actual way she describes ASIC boost is FUD. She's driving in a concept of a old hypocrisy type thing. Or controversy. That's actually what I mean. Controversy type thing. Okay. So, AntMade was using that, got that 20%, right? Okay. Then, AntBleed, a built-in kill switch that could remotely shut down any Bitmain miner in the world. Bitmain controlled 70% of the miner's Bitcoin hash rate at the time. One command, Dave could have silenced Bitcoin overnight. We never fully fixed it. This is actually what you're going to get when you look up AntBleed. AntBleed is a security vulnerability that affects certain models of 3D printers. Allowing unauthorized access to the printer's control system, it can potentially enable attackers to take control of the printers remotely. If this doesn't tell you what a lot of ASIC production people were doing, miner companies were doing before they were miner companies, I don't know what to tell you. This is the actual one she's talking about, though. Okay, this is going to tell you what it's designed to do. Ant bleed is a feature designed to prevent the accidental loss of Bitcoin by disabling certain functions in the event of a compromised wallet or private key. It aims to actually enhance security per user. This is what you know. So basically, it's a personal miner operator can actually use it at will to trigger the shutdown in case of theft, basically, or other problems. So at the point of Ant Blade may have been bad, it is actually legit. So let's look at this specifically directly, as in like code and exploit, so we can get a better idea of what's going on. So backdoor code discovered in a popular Bitcoin mining equipment. A anonymous security researcher has published details on a vulnerability named Antbleed, which the author claims is a remote backdoor affecting Bitcoin mining equipment sold by Bitmain. This backdoor also in the firmware as of July 2016. Security researcher reported this issue back in September of 2016 via the GitHub, where the company hosts its code and source code and firmware. So this is open source, right? Okay. So the original bug report was ignored until yesterday, when a newly launched website called Antbleed detailed the backdoor features. Okay, so it allows remote shutdown of the miner. It uses the MAC address and IP. At worst, the firmware is backdoor. Okay, this is where the 70% comes from. Okay, so let me see what my thing it says. Read. You got to read the whole thing. Okay. So it was also used to directly target specific machines of customers. Standard inbounds firmware rules do not protect against it. This is kind of a weird specific statement. I think it can also be used to directly target specific machines or customers. Standard inbound firewalls rules will not protect against this because Antminer makes outbound connections. There's several products that have it. Here's how you can actually look for it. Around 70% of the hash rate was affected. One person would call it a backdoor, not a DRM. And that's kind of what the company was saying, that it's technically a user DRM. Okay, as of April 2016, Bitmain issued a firmware update that actually removes the code. Oh, so it was fixed within the same year it was discovered. What? You gotta be kidding me. Well, wouldn't you know, it was actually the year after. They fully got it fixed the year after. Because, as the firmware has always been open source, the feature was never intended to be malicious. Wow! So it actually appeared in the code in 2014, when about 1,000 Antminers were actually withheld from their owner by hosting services that was being done in a different town in China. So someone in China actually discovered how to do this. So they think that it was implemented maliciously, or like it was requested by someone in 2014. And I say they say it like that because when you look into the deets and you go into the little details and crap about this, doing some of the hacker stuff. Hackers were talking about this after the fact. They weren't talking about this before. And after the fact, they were all talking about how hackers think that whoever was using it in 2014 designed this to do whatever it is they did there. And that was actually being done. I think it was in the end ended up being a government withhold. The government was basically tracking the fact that people were mining Bitcoin and stuff. But we got no real proof on that. It's just, this is the only proof that we really have that it was being used. In 2015, around 2,000 units were actually withheld from their owner. Again, but these were provided in Georgia. These services were hosted in Georgia. And that's kind of a real good point. This means that when these events happened, they were all being hosted from basically the same place or same area or same general spot. And then in 2017, Bitmain's own miners were actually withheld and sold without its consent in Canada during, man in it was a hold on, I got it written down somewhere. Um, it was a supply chain attack. Yeah. So 70% of the hash rate of 2017, when all of this was being said, isn't even a pence in the bucket compared to today's hash. Also, that issue was discovered in 2016, months before the 2017 thing framed by ISA. And even to this day, I could only find about 30,000 miners that were fully affected. Like when I say that, meaning like, see those two numbers up there, 1,000, 2,000? This is the most numbers I was actually able to find. I found other numbers that said less than this. That's actually the most numbers that I could find that I could say was like have verifiable legitimacy to it. Because I mean, I've seen some people say there's tens of thousands and they have no legitimacy to their claim. This is the company who actually produces the product and stuff like that. Okay, so this is Bitmain's own miners were used against them for a supply chain attack, and that's the real reason why they fully corrected it in 2017. One of the things we read earlier is like they mostly corrected it or they got rid of the code in 2016, right? But it was still malicious,able. Like if you didn't update your miner, like it was still usable, and so they then did something to make it unusable in 2017. April 2017, a firmware update actually does make it like that. That did something that like you don't even have to update your miner. Like as long as there's, I think it was like as long as there's like one or two miners, it's a fun system. It basically like miners stop listening to that call or that port or something like that. Like it's really fucking cool. So if you want to be protected from it, you update to this firmware update. If you don't want to be protected from it, you don't worry about it. And that's what I meant by you don't even have to, you know, it's just those who want to be protected by it use it. Okay. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I just noticed I have more notes on that Ant article. So Bitmain probably regrets even introducing this feature back in 2014. Keep in mind there are no reports of use that I can personally find after 2017. The article also shows you how to actually find your miners that are affected while giving a full source code. They actually give you the full source code in that thing. I didn't go all the way down. They give you full source code to help you actually fight the Ant. And it was always open source, so it doesn't really matter. But why would centralized miners makers give away keys to their black boxes if they added backdoors on purpose? They wouldn't, because it was a feature for controller control. When the device is outside of your control, since it has your keys or a hash or whatever inside of it that helps you get paid, well, that's you got to protect that. This Amplitude thing is mostly based. Like, legit, many thought it was an actual vulnerability, and it hurt the company's trust in their buyers for quite some time. But they also released the plans of the backdoor, and in many cases, that feature that can be used against miners, I'm like, they fully did everything they could to get rid of it. Okay? Keep in mind that this is actually an old as fuck thing. This isn't even new, and this isn't new and is older and than most people would. Oh, this is actually older than what most people whomever heard of Bitcoin. So most people who know about Bitcoin, this is older than them knowing about Bitcoin. That's what I'm saying. Like 90% of this is a feature bug or it's a feature used like a bug, and before it was even noticed. Like it was used before it got noticed, and then it got noticed, and then a year like it's less than a year later. It like I should have looked the things up. If you do the math, it's like within 6 months after people were throwing a fit about it, it was used against them. So they fully got rid of it. Because I mean, it's what provided the supply chain attack. Okay. Okay. So most alternative firmware today, still talking about miners, right? So most alternative firmware today, Brains, Luxor, Vinish, still connects to private licensed servers. Servers go down, cut you off, your miner stop working. Different name, same problem. What? So when I see the fact what she's claiming for alternative software, that brought up some red flags immediately in my mind. Like, why do I not see BFG Miner and CG Miner in her list for alternative software? The two biggest, by the way, is BFG Miner and CG Miner. No mention. That's because, well, these are actually FOSS, like actually free and open source software. It's starting to seem like FUD already, doesn't it? So let's go to Brains. This is Brains. Okay? This isn't what we care about to look at, though, to verify these types of claims. Ah, yeah. Now, in here, if we look under, what if I'm not returning user? I'm just going to read it for her. If you have used Brains Manager before and now plan on coming back, this is great news. And we welcome you with open arms. Unless your previous access to Brains Manager has been terminated by us for a breach of rules. Okay. Yeah, I would verify that what she said, that these people, like this software talks to some server that you're not controlling. Yeah, I would agree. That is absolutely possible. Verifiable based statement. Brains does talk to some back-end server you don't have access to for something. Okay. Alright, so yeah, right there, the system does indeed report back data to the owners of the software. Luxor. And we're just going straight to the spot where we know we need to look. If we click to view Luxor's user accounts, yeah, I'm already under it. Yep, I'm already under it. The privacy policy rights, we see that it says that, yes, it also submits your data to the software's owner's company. I don't know. It seems like she only mentioned specifically considered open source software that's 100% uses account systems to be able to, like, lock users out of their own systems and machines. I mean, that's strange. So why not just use BFG Miner? Can I be locked out of my BFG Miner? Yes, you can. You can still be locked out if you forgot your credentials or there's issues with your configuration. Sure. All right. Okay. What's crazy is BFG Miner is probably the most powerful Bitcoin mining software around. Here's a guide so you don't have to use Brains or Luxor or such. Wait, are you saying Brains and Luxor does more than BFG Miner because they are somewhat automated and preset for you? Oh no. How come they want your data to sell? Well, yeah. Because they do stuff for you. Yes, you can do stuff, the stuff she's talking about without these companies. So some of their tweets just got disproven by searching Bitcoin ASIC alternative FOSS software on Presearch, which is how I came across it. Be it the first one, BFG, BF, and CG Miner. So there are a few alternative bad optional alternatives. So there are some few bad optional alternatives for sovereign users. Sure. But there are also free and open source software options that are technically like free besides the one she mentioned, like BFG Miner. Yeah. 3 tweets. Gotta be kidding. I gotta read 3 tweets. Alright. I know, I'm just messing. So, what we're seeing is, but physical control is just beginning. There's another layer most people never think about. The software layer. 2025, most miners actually point their machines towards pools. Well, Wait a minute. That's not soft. What? She said software layer and then starts talking about pools. But Brains and Luxor is software. Did you know the difference? Bitmain doesn't just build miners, they run the biggest pool. Ant pool. Oh, okay. It gets worse though. Ant pool is white labeling their service. Multiple independent pools have identical code patterns. They claim to be all separate, but under the hood, they're all Ant pool. You're not making a claim that you think you're making. There's tons of pools that white label their service. There's a lot of people who don't want to set up their own crap. Like, you can do the same thing for video game servers. Like, Minecraft servers. So, anyways, third one. On paper, Ant pool controls 17% of the Bitcoin's hash rate. With its friends, it's closer to 30%. Now, that's another statement I don't see proof for. Ad Foundry USA, just two entities, accounts for 60% of the global mining. If the government wanted to censor Bitcoin, they'd only need to call two companies. That's not 100% of the mining. And also, these friends, whom? You can't just say that claim of friends. Even you put quotation marks around it, meaning like it might not really be friends. It might just be a lie, right? Well, guess what? Digital Foundry is the #1 miner. Antpool is the #2 miner. Weird how I don't see a percentage. I'm looking really hard, right? And I'm not seeing anywhere where it says that one of these is 17% of the total mining. Like, I know there's a way to actually find that out, by the way. I'm not stupid. I'm making a point. Let me show. Okay, so right now we have it set for highest hash rate top, right? Highest blocks found. Didn't move a whole lot, but it did move, right? Even Luxor moves. C pool moves. Finance moves. Goes down. Last found block. That's a huge difference. Now, looking at it like this, the SEC pool is a little bit of a, potential problem. The ocean mining is one of the most open mining pools in the world. And they're doing better than Foundry Digital. And so, like, there's lots of ways we can look at this. Like, how do we shut down the mining? Well, we can get rid of the top miners. Let's find out who was the last one done and the ones with the most blocks. Like, this SEC pool and Ant pool, right there, call those two people up, and you probably can take control of the block. You can probably take control of, like, one block today, guaranteed. Now, I say that meaning, like, if you took over their company, blah, 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 doing the hypothetical attack thing. Right? Do I have notes? Looky, BTC hashing showing almost also the pool association. Oh yeah, that's right, it does. So there's this pool association tag thing. And so you can actually put ads on Bitcoin. Well, ads been on Bitcoin since Bitcoin stamping, back with like Stamp.io in like 2014, 2016. Bitcoin stamping still happens to this day, and that's one way to get these ads on chain. So they they are claiming the pools are centralized, and we've heard this forever, so let's review some history. Okay. So, the 2025 destroyer of Bitcoin mining pools. Something that isn't even that unique directly to Bitcoin. It's not even unique to Bitcoin, is what I'm saying. Maybe the name is, but that's about it. So, let's see. When did this 2025 destroyer of Bitcoin begin? Oh, okay. It says, okay. What's happening? Oh, yeah, I was right now. Look at that. November 2010, Slush launched in 2010 and is the first mining pool. Damn. So basically, mining pools have pretty much always been a thing. 2011 to 2013, the era of Deep Bit, which at its peak held 45% of the network hash rate. 2013-2014, introduction of ASICs, when Deep Bit failed to support the newer Stratum protocol. Dash.io replaced Deep Bit. Wow. 2014-2015, F2 Pool, which launched May 2013, overtook Dash.io as the largest mining pool. 2016-2018, the rise of Bitmain AMP Pool existed. Bitmain controls a few other similar pools like BTC.com and via BTC. 2019-2020, the launch of Poolin and F2P held about 50% of the network hash rate with other small pools. And then Binance launches a mining pool in 2020, following Huobi and OKEX, and Lexor launches their US-based mining pool. Okay. So, look at all this stuff here, man. Like, there's more than one way to even do the mining, right? Yeah. There's more than one way to do the rewards. There's more than one way to do everything. There's even, like, maths here to, like, here is the reward math. Look at this math. It's simple. Simple math. Like, I can't do that math. That's technically simple math. There's not a whole lot there. Pooled mining. We see pay per last share. Solo mining. Oh, look. Solo mining. Okay. Peer-to-peer mining pool. So you can actually solo mine in a pool. Look at that. Now, I was talking about that earlier, right? That's how you compete with yourself, but not actually be against yourself. There's the geometric method, which has a lot more complicated mathematics. The double geometric method, which is probably much more better. Transaction fees, multi-pool mining. Oh, wow, look at this. Some companies sell their hash power and may do an aggregating the work of many small miners, for example, NiceHash, paying them preferentially by share like a pool would. Some such companies operate their own pools, and these considered multi-pools because they usually employ a similar method of work like switching. Okay. To just get raw profitability. Cool. Proof of capacity mining. Wow. I mean, like, really, there's a lot of stuff going on. So proof of capacity or proof of space method allows computing to be performed beforehand and answers all the answers stored on miner's hard drive, and the heavy energy consumption not required like it is for proof of work. Therefore, POC is almost always a more friendly blockchain choice. Wow, look at that. All sorts of stuff. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of that. There's actually quite a bit here for you guys to look at for these mining pools if you're really interested. So we're going to keep going though. Because now we got to ask cost of attack. So last episode we mentioned this website right here. A time or two, there's this nice hashable array on here. And we didn't really explain too much about that. But then there's some percentage that represents how it's basically a percentage that represents how easily NiceHash could take over the network. But there's actually a better way to explain that in a different manner. So this guy, this PDF 1838, right? Let me make sure it's the right one. Yes. Explains it pretty simply. It just compares the amount of standard operating orders on NiceHash in the current bid versus the total network hash rate. If any of those numbers could be altered or inflated, NiceHash could be used to more than double the VT's net hash at any time. So as long as someone puts up a bid at market rate, it will attract more hash rate, so long as it can be paid. There isn't really much to understand. The website gives basic network stats, and it's just a snapshot of NiceHash's current market. Market is the key word there. Because when we say it's NiceHashable, means someone can go to NiceHash and easily purchase it the bigger this number is. Like the bigger this percentage is, the easier and cheaper it is to take over. Ooh, that's big. Ooh, ooh, damn. A 5,000,000%. Damn. Even Moon has a 2,000,000% right now. Damn. So basically what we mean is, for Mooncoin, the cost that it would, like how much money you'd have to put on the market for people to start mining Mooncoin, you would very immediately get benefit from it. That's what it means. Okay. So I would say her pool centralization take is pretty much fun. So I have to read the next two tweets. Sound familiar? Apple built the iPhone, then slowly closed every door. You don't own your phone, you rent permission to use it. Google's following the same blueprint. Extra Android devs must verify identities just to distribute apps. Systems start open, then close in the name of security. We've been seeing that in electronics since the dawn of electronics. If your pool gets too big, just switch. That doesn't work anymore. Today's massive public miners have multi-million-dollar contracts, which means lawyers, downtime, and lost revenue. Once a single player controls most hash rate, they decide which transaction gets confirmed, which disappear. And I'm going to say something very quickly. Okay? Giant miner networks don't care about what's mined. They care about what ends up in their wallet. Some of them want cash. Some of them want Bitcoin. Some of them want specific coins. So it actually sometimes in the contract about switching. Almost all properly good miner contracts are going to be talking about switching for profit maxing to ensure you get your payment. And something you would have to do to understand. Now I have notes. Let me actually look at my notes for these two tweets. Like literally, I am not even going to bother. Okay, I did bother a little bit, right? This is painting the picture is what this is. This is what she is doing. She's attempting to paint her perspective for you to understand how she sees it. This is how she sees it. Okay. None of this has to be true, though. Not saying if a company that is ran by board or group won't have those issues, but also to mine Bitcoin, you don't even need any of that. Even large miners, there are tons of large miners as a business who won't have any of these issues she claims. There's more downtime in maintaining your miners than actually switching pools, which switching pools can be fully automated by software, by the way. So once again, FUD. Like everything she's talking about right here, like all this switching stuff can just be done automatively, instantly, immediately inside your mining software. Okay. Oh, look. Here's the sales pitch. Let me read it. Let's read the sales pitch. It finally happened. The open source rebellion. Can mining be saved? Yes. Tons of projects are fighting back. For starters, abundant mines. Mining gold requires infrastructure, expertise, physical labor. Bitcoin mining, same principle, different method. Bitcoin mining takes a lot of electricity and expertise. You could mine at home. There's a better way. With Abundant Minds, you get info on Bitcoin mining, the way professionals do it, most efficient mining machines, ultra low electrical costs, fiat monthly hosting fee. If your machine goes down, they compensate with their own fleet. Oh. Alright, so whom is Abundant Minds? These guys. This is Abundant Minds. Right here. Here's the website. Here is the sales pitch. She said this is freedom, but really you are giving your money to someone to just do everything for you and hope you gain profit and earn from this. I don't know. This looks familiar. I think I've seen this play in like a billion times by now in Bitcoin. To be honest, showing this company as the savior is FUD, but many will only see this one as base. Use this to know thy enemy of thought. If you think companies like Abundant Minds are safe and the future for Bitcoiners, then you need to look into Genesis Miner. Here's Odyssey, one of the places I'm live right now at. Here is an account that was originally on YouTube, started on YouTube back in 2007. I think my last video uploaded was in 2007. Or my first video uploaded was in 2007. We can see this has a YouTube link. We can see this is from 2017, August 6, 2017. So this was during the time frame where prices were skyrocketing, transaction fees were skyrocketing, all these different things. There's a promo code here. There's get a free wallet, Zappo, freewallet.org. So this is a long time ago. This is done on a cell phone. You can see I'm on a cell phone at Genesis Mining looking at my payouts. Okay. So this video was, again, originally on YouTube back in 2017 when it was recorded from my cell phone. And at the time, I ran a website, 3D's BTC lists. And I would actually try these various services, like Abundant Minds, in this case, Genesis Mining, to check out the legitimacy of the service. And that's what my website did. It would tell you which ones I went to and were legitimate. And we held weekly proof of payment videos. So unfortunately, because many of these types of systems were somewhat legit for a very long time, then they scammed. I lost the channel, even though it was a legacy account, even before Google owned YouTube. So if I click here, content, see, I'm live right now. And we go sort by oldest. 18 years ago is when I started uploading. By the way, we just go down. It's going to be the fastest way to the data. I used to record bands and do skits. Okay, let's keep going. YouTube was a heck of a place at the time. Okay, there's me and the orange stuff, so I started getting into Bitcoin at this time. That's around 2009, 2010. We can see I'm in like miner houses, and they're not very, clean. Okay, we'll keep going. We're almost there. A lot of music. Let's get past the music. Forgot how much music I did, okay? Alright, so New Age Bank started showing up. Bitcoin is cryptocurrency 8 years ago. So we're starting to be more public about the Bitcoin stuff. So here we can see I now have, like, we're going to different places. This is me starting with website and stuff. Weekly proof of payments. Here's my very first one. Very first one was 8 years ago. And then You can see I started doing more proof payments. I'm starting out these websites, starting out these different things. And, Bitfine and all these old websites like, well, Bitcoin Brain. Like Bitcoin Brain. Insane. Bitcoin Brain ended up failing 100%. It was a scam. And guess what it is? Exact same scam. It's the exact same scam. Alright. You don't have to trust me though. Genesis Mining, still here. I mean, they wouldn't let me log in. They wouldn't let me recover my password. Weird. The video I was showing earlier, I was talking about how the payments didn't stop yet. But they eventually did. So you can see, I even fell for it at least once. And I never made my initial payment back. From, like a lot of these mining services, you never make your payment back. The only ones that do are the ones that get like tons of people that sign underneath them and do the affiliate marketing side of it. Uptime 99.9% apparently. Earnings year to date. Look at these plans. These are expensive fucking plans. As of 1st March 2020, Genesis Mining Platform no longer sells physical mining rigs to customers. You can only access the Genesis Mining Platform through our shared cloud mining website. So, they don't even offer the service technically. They offer technically a slightly different version of the same service. This ain't new. Many of their clients have never owned Bitcoin before. Wow. Wait a minute, hold on. I think I have a thing. Hold on. Bitcoin mining offers a way to get Bitcoin with tax write-offs, no KYC, cheaper rates, and then exchanges. Check them out. Blah 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 blah. And then there's your affiliate link, right? Okay, then the article. Okay, so here's the actual sales pitch. She gives her company's Git-based affiliate link. I don't actually care about like affiliate marketing. Like I used to do it for a long time, but it's like the thing. Like I was saying, just mining. That's the only way you really make money is if you did good affiliate marketing, which is why she's doing the affiliate marketing for it, so she can actually make money off of it. Um, uh, I know many will say, hey, this isn't an ad, but she is saying the service that does everything for you is the solution to the centralization by literally just centralizing your funds to this company in hope for reward. Solo mining without the well. This is just all risk from my perspective. Because if you solo mine on like a BitAxe, which is repurposed centralized made ASIC chip miners, using like BFG miner or something, or one of their softs, or another actually free FOSS miner softs, then you can actually just do it all on your own. And even if you don't own Bitcoin first. I did notice she claimed that many of the abundant miners never owned Bitcoin before. And the reason we clapped at that is it's a telltale sign that they're taking advantage of people. So the question that I get is like, if they never owned Bitcoin coin before, then it doesn't actually explain if they actually own Bitcoin or if it's just paper Bitcoin or if these are like investments or backs into the mine itself. And they don't really care about like the Bitcoin payments, like we saw with the Genesis miner. They pay people in Bitcoin. Okay, right? So we know some don't. Like it doesn't. It's not unique to the system. Okay. 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 All right. me catch you up one more second. Okay. There was a ton of like wish-washy half-truths to sell you a service instead of teaching you how to do it yourself. It's starting to make sense why no one bought that volunteering package with the IRL upcoming businesses. Those whom would, pay to volunteer, probably see her more as a charlatan, someone who sells hopes and dreams for profit. So let's at least show off her full article, and we probably won't read all of it. I mean, a lot of it's already in the sales pitch, right? So here's the article, and she's holding up like future bit miner. Isn't there like a cheaper, more efficient miner, like tons of them? Okay. So you'll never look at Bitcoin mining the same. We've been lied to. So it's pretty much the same thing when mining was pure. Same. She already said all that. So they're not solving our hard problems. Yep, already read all that. All right. So we see, all right, picture, and then her physical centralization, all this. She already said all that. Okay. Oh no, we already saw all that. Oh, okay. Don't lose me. John gets derp. Or deep. Bitcoin main machines are black boxes. We already know that, but it ain't true. It's like one of them is completely open source. In 2017, Bitcoin was caught using ASIC boost. Okay. Yeah, we read that. Yeah. One command. No, it's not true. Picture of where she get her data stats. It doesn't give proof of that. Like where that proof comes from. More pictures of her and data. Okay, whatever. So basically, almost all the exact same stuff. I mean, like when one pull crosses 51%, it doesn't have to be a bad actor. It could just be momentum. Like there is some actual like difference of data, but it's just like her painting the picture really, and seeing like even like in here, this is where she's getting her data from. Okay, but where does this come from? I don't know. Maybe her. I don't know. Well, we just looked at the actual thing earlier, and it's the open source rebellion. If it's captured, like it doesn't matter. Like it's hypothetical. There's the bid axe. Oh wait, why didn't she talk about bid axe then? If she talks about it here, oh, because then that if you buy a bid axe, you're not buying her solution that makes her money too. Okay, right. So she named some other stuff. Some like she talked about Ocean Pool, that one we sold. That's like third, most recently obtaining blocks. So okay, whatever. Sure. Okay. Go down to bigger picture. Oh, I just kept going and I just like, oh, okay. I passed it. Yeah, okay. Okay. Newsflash. No one is coming to save it. Not regulations, not billionaires, not companies. It's actually on us. The people who run the code. Wait a minute. Didn't she say this company gonna save you? She said, this is her, right? This is it, right? This is her, right? She said, this company gonna save you. And in the same breath, she said, no, ain't no company gonna save you. It's on us. That's what she said. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Okay. Obviously, this person has a motive. They are crowdsourcing a new life in the country they want to move or have just moved to. I don't know the full part of the story either, and don't care, because at the end of the day, she's selling you a service that is an original Bitcoin scam service. Selling mining, but not the hardware, is the biggest scam of them all. Doesn't mean they're all scams. Doesn't mean everyone gets scammed. And they can be a legitimate business while scamming. It's been done tons of times. And some, again, like I said, some have actually gotten paid quite a bit in the process before they got rugged. I'm not claiming any of the companies you saw today were or are scammers. I'm only saying selling Bitcoin mining without selling the hardware or the software, but the whole mining service selling itself is normally a scam. Commonly, Bitcoin miners work their way up as they win the rewards through mining, like the natural system of Bitcoin. Not all, but I also didn't say all mining services selling are scams either. Just the majority of them seem to have been historically ending as scams. The choice really is yours. Do you trust this person whom is leading the way to their new life? They have crowdfunded and risk everything, or do you just get the gear, learn the softs, and mine it yourself? Like she claims in the article ending point. Like, we all have to do this ourselves, was what she said. It gets very confusing. Alright. But that's the whole point. Like, that's the whole point. It's a sales pitch. That's the perspective. The sales pitch. Okay. So, next week, we will be reviewing a perspective from Simon Dixon. So, before we head out, I want to show you what Simon has to say here with BTC Sessions.
What would you say to the average Bitcoiner that's out there looking at this saying, how do I navigate this? How do I, to a degree, maintain a status as like the sovereign individual kind of thesis? How do I go about that?
You said the key two words, sovereign individual. That is the promise of Bitcoin, and you need to maintain that promise. And in fact, we need you to maintain that promise, because there is a very deliberate operation to centralize as much Bitcoin as possible right now. And we need a core community that's running their own nodes, that holds their Bitcoin in self-custody, and is not borrowing against their Bitcoin in order to be margin called in market manipulation. They're not buying MicroStrategy. They're not leveraging. They're not trading. They're not leaving their coins in exchange. They're not using the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. Everything that was brought to us is the exact opposite of what we need the majority of people to do.
Sounds about right. That sounds based. Like what he just said is a base statement. That is what we need to do. And that lady was saying that, but not getting to it. So as you can see, we're going to be talking about this guy, Simon Dixon, the one who's saying these things. We're going to be talking about him next week. You're probably wondering why this clip was actually picked, though. Like, Simon's saying here is, again, based. Let me show you the beginning of this clip, though.
You need to put together a 10-year plan right now, and you're running out of time. They want Bitcoin to succeed, but they want it to succeed in custody. And the new elites of the world are going to be the Bitcoin and self-custody people while they try and custody everyone else. They will attack on every front. You don't kill strategy, you utilize strategy, you co-op strategy, you laden it with debt so that whenever you want to crash the price of Bitcoin short term, you've got your derivatives complex and you've got strategy as the perfect centralizing mechanism. You've got 21 capital that will get you to borrow against your Bitcoin, roll up, strike, put it in custody, work with Tether and Howard Lutton.
One company I like pointing people to when they ask about Bitcoin mining is Abundant Mines.
So what will next episode actually be based on this quote? What do you think it's going to be? Go ahead and comment below if you think the next episode is going to be FUD or based. Because as you can see, information is definitely under attack. And much of it is covered with part truths, which is used to help spin their narrative to have a more believable story to tell. Only bigger thoughts, perspectives, files, and more to come. So we're going to uncover and discover and go through and find a bunch within the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency sphere of technology. So join me in 2 weeks when we break past the stories to find out the next perspective is FUD or based.
Yo, did you think you know? Did you think you hold? Did you think something new? That's the goal, to see from a new degree and get the change. Your mind needs to find something new. Life suddenly is easy for many, but when a wall appears, sometimes up is all you see. So let 3D guide to the side, yo, where there's a door though. Just be careful on your way out, for the first step is a do-si-do. A little bit Linus with something different, it's almost like he's something else. And regardless of maybe, perhaps it was that missing piece you was needing. Maybe it was that simple message you was searching. Definitely it's just in different time for defraying our mental mind state, separating us from our own mental mind tank. Boom goes the blast of thought. Boom goes the last spark with part. Boom goes the mental mind tank. Don't your perspective hit on the way out. Don't let your directive stop you when you doubt. Don't let the dire detection stop you from being getting X-righted, so the photons are delighted. Don't hesitate so we can line up the hash rate. Let me surmise the time to make the rate and reduce the face while we mine our major bets. Crypto technology like cryptographic money, while hashing your life into a set of QRs. It doesn't matter, cause this was 3D changes perspectives. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a new roll of perspective. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a brand new perspective. Of perspective. Thank you for joining the show. Please return next time for a brand new perspective.